Let's get to it. We're going to start quickly with the trade deadline reaction. Can you explain the thought process of the Chicago Bears, a team that a year ago, the trade deadline, gave up a second-round pick, which ended up being the 32nd overall pick, to the Steelers for Chase Claypool, who now plays for the Dolphins? This time around, they got Montez Sweat, who's a really good edge rusher, 27 years old, final year of his rookie deal, for another second-round pick. Now, is the thinking that we're just going to sign him because we know he's good and we're not going to gamble in the draft or whatever that pick would be? Or is there some hope that perhaps doesn't seem realistic, that they're going to make a run and they want to have their defense strengthened?
Yeah, I don't see them making a run. I think that's a little bit unrealistic expectations right now, especially with their quarterback situation and the way they've been playing on both sides of the ball. So I looked at this as they're trying to make a future move. Also, they may have looked at the draft board and seeing where the pass rushers are, and in the second round, do we still have an opportunity to maybe get one of the pass rushers? If not, it falls off. We'd rather take a shot on Montez Sweat. The thing that's concerning, though, is just reading through the clips today, is that they want to try to extend Montez Sweat, because if you're not going anywhere or going into the playoffs and you just traded a valuable second-round pick as you're trying to rebuild that roster to Montez Sweat, and Ryan Poles has come out and said, yes, we want to get an extension done with him, which I understand. But Montez Sweat is saying on his Twitter account, or whatever it came out, is that I want to wait and look at all my options at the end of the season. So this would be a disastrous trade if you gave away a second-round pick and not able to retain the player.
Isn't this a conversation that you, the general manager, has with the agent and the player prior to pulling the trigger on the trade?
Well, the one thing is, as you have to get permission from the team that you're trying to trade with, that you can talk to the agent. So I would call, and if I was trying to do that deal, I would talk to Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew, whoever was taking the calls, and say, listen, we'll give you that pick, but before we can do that, I need to speak to the agent to make sure that we can get a contract extension done, or at least they're willing to work on a contract extension. I don't know how close it came to the deadline on getting this done, but there is always a process in place, because first thing is popping in my mind, and what I'm going to have to answer to in a GM role is that, all right, I just gave away a valuable second-round pick, and I have this guy for the second half of the season, and I don't have him after that. What have I accomplished?
What happens if you make this
Unless
trade?
you're deciding to, because you have so much money, franchise them because you can't get the deal done. Then you're in a situation there.
What if the owner or owners, plural, see the tweet from Montez about, I'm going to keep my options open, and then they call you and say, Rick, what's going on? I thought you said this would be sorted out.
Hopefully you've had those conversations with the ownership, because if I was in an owner's seat, I want to know, what's it going to cost me to extend this guy if we get a second-round pick? What's our cash commitment to the player, and how are we going to make this work? So I'm assuming that those conversations were done.
So as we sit here, Chicago has the number 2 pick, which is the Carolina Panthers pick. They had their number 3 pick, their own pick. And then now they don't pick again until 68 in the 3rd round and 103 in the 4th round. They've given up what's probably the 33rd or 34th pick as we sit here to get Montez Sweat. But to your point, if you like Montez Sweat and you like him coming out and you think you can sign him, I don't hate the idea of getting a good edge rusher for a second-round pick that's proven himself in the NFL already, right?
If he's on your team next year.
Right. That's a big if.